Hey, what's up guys? So today I wanted to do a quick unboxing of my new card reader. It's the ProGrade dual slot card reader. And I want to take a second to get into the box, see what the content is in there, take it up to the computer, plug it in, and do a couple speed tests. And we're going to get into that right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? Once again, this is you and Henry with Tech in My Life. So if this is your first time here, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. While you're at it, make sure you click on that notification bell so you can be informed whenever I post new videos or whenever I decide to go live. So today, like I said, we're going to get into this unboxing of this ProGrade card reader. It's a dual slot card reader. The particular version is the USB 3.2 Gen 2 dual slot card reader. This one takes the SD cards and the CFast cards. Supposed to have some pretty tremendous speeds. The one I'm using right now, it gets decent speed, but what I noticed with my current card reader, a lot of times it starts off pretty fast and then the speed drops off. And I've seen a bunch of tests with these and it seems like it's pretty consistent. Whatever speed this one starts off with, it kind of maintains that same speed throughout the upload or download. So I want to check that out. I want to test that. And like I said, we're going to take a minute. We're going to open it now. Then we're going to go up to the computer and run a couple speed tests. Nothing scientific, just informal. Drop a couple files onto the card and see what the speeds are like. All right, so let's get into this unboxing right now. Okay, the first thing we have is just some packing foam. And then we have your registration card. Register your serial number for important firmware updates. ProGradeDigital.com. Then you have your instruction manual, which is pretty straightforward. It's a card reader. You stick a card in it. We have a USB-C to regular USB. Then we have another USB-C to USB-C. And here we have the card reader. So we have the SD slot at the top, CFast slot at the bottom. We have two indicator lights letting you know which card is active, reading and writing, or writing. On the side, looks like we have some vents here. Some more vents on the side. To the very back, we have a USB-C port. On the bottom, we have the serial number, model number, and so on. Dual slot SD CFast card. And that's about it. So that's it, pretty straightforward. I think the part about this that becomes exceptional is not just the look of a card reader, from one to the other, they're all pretty much very similar. What makes this one stand out from the rest is its performance, and we're gonna go take a look at that performance right now as we plug it into the computer and see how we can get some read and writes going. Okay, so now we're back at my workstation. We're going to do this informal and unscientific test. We're going to use two card readers. We're going to use my older card reader. That's this Excellion, if I'm pronouncing that right. And we're also going to use my newer card reader from ProGrade. And what I'm going to do is use this Sony SD card right here. Okay, the Sony SD card, as you can see, it has a read speed of 299, a write speed of 300. Am I saying that right? Read speed of 300, write speed of 299. And we're going to transfer files from the card to the computer. I have 3 separate hard drives in the computer. I have a M.2 NVMe drive, an SSD drive, and a regular 3.5 spinning platter hard drive. We're going to transfer files from the card reader to the computer only. I'm not going to transfer them back to the card. It's very often. It's not very often that I actually transfer stuff from the computer to the card. So I'm not going to be doing that test. All I'm going to do is from the card to the computer, because 90% of the time, if not higher, what I'm doing is taking videos or photos that I've taken from my camera and putting them onto the computer, not the other way around. And I know some people are going to say, you know, they want to know the transfer from the computer back to the card, the write speed. When the card is in the camera, it just acts differently than when it's going from the computer to the card. It's just not the same thing. So I'm not going to do that part. For me, the most important part is when I take the card out of the camera, stick it in a card reader, and then transfer images from, or media rather, from the card to the computer. So what I'll do is the 3 separate drives, I'll do a transfer of each from the card to the computer using the different card readers and see what those speeds are like. My guess, since the card readers are both being attached via USB-C, the speeds are going to be very similar. The Excellion card reader is USB-C in the computer, and on the card reader itself, it's USB 3. And the ProGrade Card Reader is USB-C on the card reader itself and to the computer. So that's kind of the setup. Let's jump into some of these transfers and see how that goes. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at some of the specs of the computer we're dealing with here. It's an Intel Core i7 9700K. Native clock speed is 3.6 megahertz, and it has boost, so it boosts itself up. Right now it's boosting up to 4.6, 4.5. I didn't overclock it because this was more than enough for me. The motherboard, it's a gigabyte technology Z390. I have 32 gigs of RAM. And what I said we were going to do is put the card in the card reader and transfer from the new card reader to the different hard drives I have. I have a Samsung SSD, the 860 EVO, 1 terabyte. And then I have a spinning platter drive. That's this one here. That's, I believe, 8 terabytes maybe. And then we have the Samsung SSD 970 EVO that I'm using for my my home drive, and that is a 500 gigabyte NVMe drive. That's about it. Now let's get into some of these speed tests. We have this folder here. We're going to transfer it from the computer. Now you can see in this folder we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 different files in this folder. If you look at the bottom left here, you'll see that file is 3.7 gigabytes, another one 3.7 gigabytes, another one 3.7 gigabytes, another one 3.7, another one, and the last one is just a little bit smaller at 3.52 gigabytes. All totaling, it was like 22.1 gigabytes, something like that. So that's this folder here, PG reader test. Now let's try transferring from the card reader to the computer and see what those speeds look like. Looks like we're at a stable 288, 289, 289, 288. Now that's impressive. Not one dip, just stable at 288. Now the card itself says it should top out at 300. but right now we're at 288, 287, 285, 283, 284, back up to 289. And again, that's transferring to the NVMe drive. Or the M.2 drive. Okay, now let's try transferring from the card reader to so this drive here is the Samsung SSD drive. So let's see what happens when we transfer from the card reader to my Samsung SSD drive. Very similar speeds, that 288, 289, 290. That's interesting that it's going to the SSD drive at the same speed, very similar speed, actually a little bit faster than the M.2 drive. That's pretty interesting. If you guys have any idea why that speed bump, why there's a slight speed bump going from the card reader to the SSD drive as opposed to the NVMe drive, please let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. Oh, and if I'm doing something with this test that's not accurate or doesn't lend itself to good data, please feel free to let me know. This is totally informal, but I'll be just curious what anyone's thoughts are. So please leave comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think about my informal test here. Lastly, we're going to try, this is my regular spinning platter drive. So let's see what those speeds look like. Yeah, now instantly you can tell that it hasn't even started yet, but the speeds are starting off kind of high here. Wow. Now I definitely would have thought, oh, there we go. That's what I suspected. And again, this one is going to take a while. It started off fast, but now we're down to 80 megabits a second. So that's going to take a while. So we'll just fast forward through this. And let's find that drive. Okay, that's the ProGrade drive there, and this is the desktop. Okay, now we have the card plugged into the older card reader, and let's start by transferring from the card reader to my desktop, which is housed on the NVMe drive, and let's see what those speeds look like. We're just going to delete this file here, and again right, here we go. As I suspected, very similar speeds between the ProGrade drive and my older drive, between the ProGrade card reader and the Excellion card reader, both plugged in via USB-C, very similar speeds. I think the ProGrade was definitely a little higher because at times it was touching speeds of 290, whereas the Excellion is only hitting speeds between 270 to 280. I don't think it's gotten up to 290 yet, but that is such a small difference that am I gonna keep this card reader for such a small difference? You know, I don't know. And the same file is transferring kind of the same way. I don't see any serious dips in speed transfer. I think the speed difference is not that big of a deal. It's just a small speed bump. Now, maybe if I was doing larger files, it would make more of a difference, but a 22 gigabyte file in like a minute 30 as opposed to a minute 35, that's not that big of a difference to me. I'm actually a little surprised. All right, so let's try transferring now from this card reader, instead of to the NVMe drive, let's try to the regular hard drive, I guess. Once again, it starts off pretty fast, and I'm guessing it's going to drop down anytime now. Okay, we're going to fast forward through this, but it looks like initially it's behaving almost identically. Okay, lastly, we're going to transfer one more file to the SSD from the Excellion card reader to the Samsung Evo SSD. And there we have it. Very, very similar speeds. Okay, that's it. Let me guys know what you think. You know, if you think I did something wrong or I messed this up somehow, or, you know, just the way that it was done wasn't scientific enough for an unscientific test. Or if it was interesting and you found it entertaining, please feel free to leave a comment. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. While you're at it, please do subscribe. I try to put out a video on a regular basis. I'm trying to do like once a week. So you guys will have some entertainment or maybe information. So definitely subscribe. And when you do subscribe, please make sure you hit that notification bell so you guys can be informed whenever I post new videos, or I keep saying whenever I decide to go live, because one of these days I am eventually going to go live. But at any rate, like I said, that's about it for today. An informal, unscientific test with my new card reader and my old card reader that kind of just had me thinking I should have stayed with my old card reader. At the end of the day, the difference is so minor that I really feel like I'll probably be sending it back. I kind of wanted the ProGrade Card Reader for a while, and it just so happened that Amazon had them on sale. So I kind of took advantage of the sale. They were typically $80 and Amazon had them for $60. So I jumped on it, and I like the card reader. I like that it's USB-C to USB-C. There is a slight speed bump here and there, but compared to my current card reader that I think I spent $24 for, the speed bump is so small that I really think I'm going to be sending it back to Amazon. That being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in. See you guys in the next one, and take care. Be safe.